Hello, everybody. Welcome to another wonderful conversation of Empower. Uncut and unfiltered, experience life the way it is. Today, I have Pial with me. She is from KL. She is in KL, and she is now working for Think Tank. Think Tank. Well, such a twister, like Think Tank. And she is officially single today.
Yes, I am. And I am super happy to be on your show, Elise. Just to ask, is this live?
No, it's not.
Okay.
But you can
Sorry.
be uncut and
Yeah,
unfiltered.
totally.
Just say anything.
Mm-hmm.
So we had just an interesting conversation, and I think most women entrepreneurs, if you're watching it, needs to know, because you actually were a coach and still is, but the only difference is you now have a job. The J-O-B, the curse word. Oh my God.
Indeed, I am. And I
Yeah.
am loving every single second of it.
Yes, and interesting because you said I have a job and this is my life purpose. And this is the complete opposite of what everyone else is saying. If you want to live your life purpose, you must quit your job and start a business or go travel and be a digital nomad or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, how did that happen for you?
So I think just recapping the story that we had earlier, I had a life purpose which I wanted to fulfill, right? Especially being in the position that I was in this country, and being in a part of a system that's, I would say, a bit in the dinosaur times, but slowly working on the whole system. So being part of I don't want to play victim here, but being stuck in the system which I had no control over, put me in a mindset where, you know what, I really want to get out of this. I want to be able to help other people as well. And other women whom I've seen who suffered as a result of being part of a very inefficient, outdated, ancient system, right? And so I thought, I want to be out there meeting as many women entrepreneurs as I can, at the same time being financially supported, and at the same time living my life purpose, right? And I thought I had to do that on my own, by being on my own. However, that was not true because I still felt lost, right? And being lost, I felt like, oh, you know what? I need to find another mentor. I need to find another coach, which meant I had to fork out a bunch of money again. And when was this ever going to stop, right? I mean, having a coach, yes, is to kind of help you get unstuck in certain points of your life, to help you get over a period or a phase, for someone to kind of have complete independence, who has your best interest at mind. But do you need to have this for the rest of your life? I don't think so, right? It's something that you just need to feel supported at a point of your life. And I thought, I need a mentor. I don't need a coach now. I need a mentor with a certain years to him or her that's attached to them, that can bring that kind of wisdom onto the table, right? Someone who's successful, who's shown that he is successful through his or her track record, and basically not just somebody who says, oh, I can do this, I can do that, and everything looking fantastic and awesome on social media, but truly behind, it's a crazy world out there, right? It's a shark eat shark ocean out there. And so sometimes you can't tell between the honest, truthful, sincere, and the ones who are there for financial gains. So I needed someone there's just no need of financial transaction. I just want to know that there is a human being out there, right, who has already done it, made it, and wants to contribute back, and truly wants to help mentor and help another person develop. So that's how, a year ago, as I was telling you, September 2015, I stopped coaching. Then I went back to the bank, and then I found somebody who was a friend's dad, in fact, and I asked him for a job. And I said, because I asked him for a job because I wanted to specifically mentor under him. But at the same time, there was a guy who is my boss today, who came to the bank to give a talk. And when he delivered the talk, I was so inspired, and I felt so called to his vision. And then there's this huge calling within me that I went to him, shook his hand, took a selfie so he would remember me, and went back to my desk and wrote him a long email and said how much I resonated with his message, and that one day I will be working with him in one capacity or the other.
Oh, this sounds like the dude in the Think and Grow Rich who wanted to work with Albert Einstein. What's his name? I don't know. But he really had the vision to work with Einstein. So he started from scratch, basically. Remember that story?
Yeah.
So,
So then but at that point, I wasn't thinking about this story. It was just something that was so spontaneous. And I wrote to him because I knew he wasn't based in KL. He's based in Hong Kong. And I said, I know this is a long and a long shot, but if you ever are coming to KL, if you're ever going to open an office in KL, I would love to help out in whatever way I can.
and
So
you're
that actually
heading
meant
that department right now, right?
that's right. That's right. And that was on a purely voluntary basis that had no financial intention that, oh, you're going to pay me or I'm going to do a business with you, strike a deal with you or a partnership. Nothing. It was just, I want to help you achieve and fulfill that mission. And my boss is 60 years old, right? And he doesn't look a day older than 45.
Wow.
So when he eventually offered me a job, after a year, so I met him in November 2015. I opened the office in October 2016. So that was almost a year later that this actually happened, right? So the point is that, if you are focused on your goal and you're not completely hung up over the how and the means.
More like if you're not picky. Because
exactly.
we were saying early on, right? Because there's this saying that's floating around. If you don't, what was it? If you don't work for your dreams, you'll be hired to work for someone else's dream. But then and then I told you that I wrote a quote again recently and say, if you don't know what your dream is, sometimes you need to be hired to work for someone else's dream to figure out your dream. But in your instance, is another a slight tangent of, which is you consciously want to work for this person's dream.
Yeah. Because I resonated with this message and I couldn't within myself articulate that kind of dream, that kind of goal, So I knew I had it inside of me, but the way I articulated my dreams and goals at one point at least sounded a lot like all the other coaches out there. I sounded like a broken record.
Yeah. Like create your life and live your dreams.
Yes. Yeah. Right. And work anywhere, be laptop independent, just work anywhere, be, that kind of style. Right. And also empower people doing this, and to be honest with you, like so many people are doing that already. And I feel like in my society, at least, the women are all empowered and have and they actually have channels, they have support groups, they have organizations, they have marketing campaigns. There's Lean in Malaysia, there's all sorts of things, but the men are being left behind.
Interesting.
Family units are still breaking up, right? Our society is still being like worse and worse. A lot of them are being more regressive than progressive. People are becoming religious to a certain extreme where you're just like, that's just illogical now, That you come to a point where you're like, what, and you're creating separatism. You're creating like this whole, not just concept of racism, right? Racism, you can't really see it happening here, but people are like keeping within amongst themselves in their own race. Or if you're a Malay Muslim, then you should be supporting the Malay Muslim community. You shouldn't be supporting the Chinese or Indian community. And it's very much a political game. And that's saddening and sickening, So I was trying to find, for a very long time, the message and how to articulate this specifically for where I'm from, right, in this country. And I think, although I speak from where I'm from, it does represent a global crisis from where I'm coming from.
I think recently I've been hearing a lot. I thought I was the weirdo one because I just tap into the energy and then I just speak, right? But apparently a lot of people are talking about the system as I do these interviews. The system keeps coming up. And then you were saying just now, you can't break away from the system, and then you didn't want to sound like a victim. But I'm the same. Like, I send my kids to school. It's a system that I don't like, but I just have to suck it up because I consciously send them to school,
Yeah,
I agree. But then I just have to figure a way to work around the system without breaking the law, because if you don't send your kids to school in Singapore, you are breaking the law. Right? Every child needs to go to school,
Yeah.
And then if you homeschool your kids, you've got to either be a graduate, either one of us, and then we still have to take the exam, so which completely defeats the purpose of homeschooling.
Yeah.
And Singapore is so tiny. What are you going to do with them at home, right? It's not like in the States or in Malaysia where you can just travel from Penang to Ipoh or from Florida to Hawaii. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I've heard so many people talk about the system, and I think there is this thing bubbling about questioning the system, and even think tank, which is the same thing which you briefly explained, questioning the current business models. Is it relevant to our lives, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
If it's relevant, if it's sustainable, have we factored in the fact that, facing the 21st century challenges of technology overreach, a global population peak, climate change, limited resources, how are businesses today supposed to run, right? We can no longer stick on the old business models of what ultimately, what Western institutions are basically, have been pushing down our throats this whole last century or so, right? So we're saying, what is the true definition, or what is a redefinition of capitalism, of democracy, of free trade, right?
Yeah,
of
and it's so
education.
interesting where you talk about education and everything else, but it's so interesting that we live in modern worlds, and then you talked about this also being a regressive society, that we are actually outdated.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think in the job and the role that I am today, I am, not just being financially supported, but I am also surrounded by other team members who share the same vision, and we are doing our best to want to work together, grow together, and we're constantly brainstorming of each other, right? Throwing ideas out and not limiting ourselves. So I think that's a really nice thing to have, as opposed to working as a solo entrepreneur. That was what I was missing as well. So when I was working on my own, it was just me and social media, and then the clients whom I was talking to. Right.
Exactly.
So that's the part that I missed, that interaction, that daily, just kind of off the cuff, asking people what do they have about in their mind, what do they think about this, what do they think about that. And so that's a really nice, I would say, dynamics that I have with the team. So there's 3 of us here, and I'm setting up the team, and hopefully we're able to grow bigger in the next coming months. But essentially what it is in what I do is about leadership development and training, right? So it's changing mindsets, helping in the behavioral dynamics and changes in that. And what I am able to do is to now go up a level, and concentrate on those from the bigger companies, the multinationals, the conglomerates. And when they send their participants over, these people are the professionals who can actually make a change within their organization, who already have that capacity, that empowerment within themselves to want to question, like, this is the way we've been doing business all this while. Now, looking at the current challenges, should we now move away from just a full model of profit maximization or shareholder maximization, but also to look at a model that is socially inclusive, right? So what are the social impacts that can actually benefit the community as a whole? Because you cannot run on a model that is profit maximization anymore. That's just an unsustainable model in today's age, right? Because we are a growing population, 7.5 billion, and in about 30 years we'll be 10 to 12 billion people. And given the constant state of resources, how are we going to share that pie with everybody, right? How do we lower the gap or narrow the gap between the rich and the poor? And this cannot happen from people who are working on them by themselves. Solo entrepreneurs are making changes in their own ways, but you got to impact people in bigger organizations. Let them see what's truly happening when they try to evade or avoid taxes. What's truly happening, right? When they don't change or they don't question, or they don't re-examine their traditional way of doing business. How does that impact society? How does that impact the next generation, right? How does the way the supply chain or their processes creates this huge amount of wastage in the ecosystem and putting all the strains on Earth, right? How is it polluting the planet? So you have to look at all of this, and a lot of them, not to say surprisingly, but they have no idea at all about externalities, right? About how much waste they've been producing all this while. It's all about profit maximization, and not knowing that the amount of food that you waste there can actually feed another 1 or 2 billion people in other parts of the world. So these are the kind of content that we feed through, and it's so much more empowering as opposed to telling people that you should get rid of the rules. Sometimes a lot of people have to deal with, I understand, in the environment as they were growing up, right? A lot of limitations that they set because of what happened as they grew up, what they learned from their parents, they learned from this. But what I'm saying is this content, right, learning about the bigger world and what's truly happening out there is empowering enough to get you out of that as well.
Hmm.
To understand that you have a bigger purpose. Why is it that you have a bigger purpose? Oh, because I can now relate myself to the miners in Congo who's actually mining for bauxite to create and produce this iPhone for me that I'm using as a means of communication with somebody in Singapore, right? And is Apple paying them fair wages, fair labor wages? Are they doing their part, for example? So being able to connect the dots on a more macro level will give you that drive eventually for you
Yeah.
to see, oh my God, right? This is actually interrelated. We are all interrelated, and we cannot just keep thinking about ourselves, how frustrated we are, how depressed or how stressed, or how people have been suppressing us
Actually,
all this while.
to be honest, if you are somebody who is struggling in your business, and just go get a job.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. As long as, now, especially nowadays, you have more people who are more consciously minded, right? And they want to start organizations which have big means and values. And not to say that we are weak if we don't work for ourselves or if you work for somebody else.
That's a
In
good
fact,
point.
you should have more pride in yourself that you are able to want to work with other people. In today's age, with everybody on their iPhone and on their iPad all the time, they can barely make a conversation with a person sitting opposite themselves, and even with family members or friends. People struggle to communicate and articulate with people who are physically in front of them, right? The fact that you can work with other people in a team, having great team dynamics, and eventually growing that company together, I think people should have more pride in that.
We're just talking about this. Perhaps maybe it's a loss of faith if you declare to the world that I'm going to be this successful entrepreneur, and then now you're in the job. I think
But that's ego.
Yeah.
It's ego, isn't it? Right?
It is.
So again, where is that ego coming from? So really, who's losing out? If that's an awesome job, right, that is able to fulfill your sense of purpose, that is able to financially support you, what is wrong with getting a job? I don't think there's anything at all.
So you talked about financial support for like a couple of times. So how do you think financial stability is important to a woman?
I think it's very important, but as I mentioned to you before, which I haven't mentioned in this talk right now, it's about being financially honest with yourself.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you if somebody says, oh, I'm earning 10,000 a month, 20,000, 30,000, and the goal goes up, and up. So don't get caught in that. And be financially honest with yourself. Do you really need 10,000 US dollars a month? That's about 45,000 ringgit a month for me. Do I really need 45,000 ringgit? I don't. Do my kids need 45,000 ringgit a month? Does my mom need 45,000 ringgit?
It's not a
no,
need. I think it's more like a want.
Exactly, right? Because you're just in that circle and everyone's kind of spitting the same thing over and over in a different circle. So you kind of get caught up in the whole thing. And if you're not earning anything.
Yeah, and if you can't charge, and if you don't charge and can't charge $10,000, it seems like there's something wrong with you. Do you feel like there's something wrong with you?
Just a feeling of inadequacy, a feeling of like, why can't I get to that level yet, right?
Yeah.
So people have to understand that, yes, it will take time, but sometimes some people want to rush that process, or they feel like, and then and that's how people become pushy, because they feel it's about time now. It's 6 months. I should be earning 5,000. So all that I should. It should be this way. It should be that way. Like, who's setting all these rules?
Yeah.
Right? We are setting it for ourselves, but why? Be honest financially. What are your obligations? Rent, school fees, food allowances, groceries, petrol. Be financially honest. Look at the number and say, hey, you know what? This is all I need. If I'm able to have that stable every month, then I don't have to worry about anything else, and everything else I will give back. Right? I will add value to people around me more than whatever I can give, given that I am already financially supported by being financially honest. And that's when the income will grow. And that's what I've experienced. Exactly that.
That's true. You have to be financially honest. And most women want to make all the 10Ks, but they don't want to look at their balance sheet.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And you also have to be financially disciplined. Because here's the thing, when you get 10,000, in which I have achieved 10,000, and then that 10,000 slips away so fast.
Yes, I totally agree.
And you're just like,
where did the money go?
I used to live with not having 10,000, And then when I did earn 10,000, it's not enough.
Yeah.
And nothing else has changed. I still have 2 sons. I still have 1 mother. I don't have a new partner that I have to support. So, so that's the part. So whenever you aim for more, you achieve it, then suddenly you need more, you want more, and this and that. And so again, that goes back to, you need to be financially conscious, financially honest, and financially disciplined.
Yeah.
And
Actually,
that will take you far and long.
That's true. I mean, everybody wants that $1 million, right? Like me and my husband, I told him if we ever strike lottery, the $1 million jackpot, we will not change a single thing in our life. Then we are able to enjoy the $1 million. Because I've learned this hard way, like UPL, I had made 10K, like 20K, and then where did all the money go? It's not about how much you can make, it's how much you can keep, right?
Yeah.
It's where did all the money go? So you still have money leaks. And I told him, if ever, when I strike $1 million, I would maintain my lifestyle now. I would maintain it. I would not grow it. I mean, maybe once in a while you can have, like maybe one business class thing, a year.
Yeah.
But apart from that, if you have more money, but you don't just splash around, I will be able to live a very comfortable life.
Yeah, I completely agree.
The problem is, like what you said, you make more, you earn more, you want to spend more, and then you want to upgrade, and then this, and then that, and then it's never enough.
It's a vicious cycle.
It is. And then you're wondering, how do people make $600 a month or $800 a month and can have 6 children?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. At least I have 15 more minutes because I have to go by 4:30. But can I quickly jump into the teeth whitening project?
Yes. Tell me about it. How did that become your passion from coaching to teeth whitening?
So I think because you don't know the history of it before. So before I got into coaching, I was actually in the business of producing and making my own natural skincare products when I was living in the UK. And when I came back to Malaysia, the market was not right for it. It wasn't ready for homemade DIY types of skincare makers. And so it wasn't doing well. So that was why I went through this whole phase of like, what can I do now? And I went soul searching for a whole year as well. And that's how I got and found into coaching, stumbled upon it through Marie Forleo. And then after a while, I decided, coaching is something that I love. And that's how I stopped my skincare business. But I've always had a passion for it. I have all this knowledge of how to create my own natural skincare products. And I've always been into natural products, ingredients, especially like wholesome, wholly 100% things like that. And so a year ago, because I've been obsessed with white teeth, and the first thing that stands out to me on a person's facial expression is their smile, and some people are like eyes or nose or like the shape of the face. For me, it's this smile. So then because of that, I became very conscious of my own smile and my own teeth. And I became very obsessed. And I started, I went for teeth whitening a treatment about 3 years ago. And then after 6 months, I started seeing it started to stain again. And I was like, oh my God, I just spent all this money and then now it's staining again. So I went high and low trying to look for that in alternative, but couldn't find any. Went back to the over-the-counter products with all the chemical stuff, and that caused me a lot of tooth and gum sensitivities. And it was bad until one day a friend of mine introduced me to oil pulling, coconut oil pulling, and bamboo charcoal powder. And I started on that journey with coconut oil pulling about a year ago and bamboo charcoal powder 6 months ago. And I could see the results instantly, and I drink coffee 2-3 times a day. And I can eat anything. I don't have to worry about my teeth being stained. And after a while, I thought, hey, you know what? Why do I make these own products in Malaysia? Because Malaysia is the producer of one of the highest grade for virgin coconut oil. But we export it to the States or to other developed countries, get it stamped, get it FDA stamped, USDA approved, and then it gets exported back to us. And we buy it at that price. And I'm like, that's completely ridiculously crazy, right? And so I went and embarked on a journey, started to find raw materials, ingredients, and suppliers, and then manufacturers who was willing to formulate together with me. And so in the last 8 months, that's what we've been doing, basically. So I found a partner also by the whole universe and the funny way it works. I found my business partner, went into this whole journey, started finding suppliers, and basically 8 months later, product is all ready. Beautiful packaging and all that. And then we just, we just launched last month. And this month, as in after launching for a month, we've hit our 10,000 goal. And that wasn't even intended, 10,000 sales. So that's pretty amazing for me because while having my full-time job, and I only work weekends. So I told my partner the only time that I have for this business is 4 hours every Saturday. But I have been consistently over the last 8 months given my 4 to 5 hours every Saturday to the business. And then the rest of the weekend is with my kids. And so having that, being very focused onto the whole thing, putting in that consistent time and discipline into the work, I think has paid off. And now my partner is working on it full time, and I'm still on the side. I work on it over the weekends, and I love my job. I have an amazing business that I love, and I love seeing all my customers coming to me and saying, that was a great product. I love the way how I brush my teeth and the mint feel and the feel of the mint by the time I'm done. And they've given me all the testimonials, like they've sent in all the results after 2 weeks, and their teeth has whitened. And I'm like, that's amazing, guys. So I'm very impressed as well. So that's the story of teeth whitening. And on top of that, at least, it's not so much the money for me. It's more of the.
So I know you're gonna go, but tell us briefly, what's the difference between purpose and passion then?
So I think,
I don't think you're helping people whiten their teeth is your life purpose, right?
It's not. It's a passion.
Yeah. So can you briefly tell us the difference between purpose and passion? Because people always link this purpose, passion, profits together. Yeah,
the 3 P's, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would say like life purpose is something that you feel like you have to leave this world with before you go, right? So I know that I want to make this world a better place before I leave it. And what can I do, right? That is to empower people. That is to create mindset shifts in people so they don't have to suffer. To help them create that behavioral change in their dynamics. And not just about all talk, about all hoo-ha, have that high and then have their low. It has to be sustainable and consistent change within themselves. That's what I aim for, right? To make them feel that this world that they're living in right now is a time where you have to enjoy it at the most, but at the same time be responsible to take care of it for the next generation, right? Not to abuse it, not to go crazy and overboard and just it's all about yourself. It's not, right? It's about let's all enjoy it together, and let's make sure when we leave it, it's in perfect condition when you're handing over to the next generation. That's a life purpose to me. And a passion, it's something that, like music, some people love singing, some people, and they make a business out of it. Some people love instruments, some people love football, they love sports, and they make a living out of it. For me, I love natural products because I've been using that for my kids. So it's about health and wellness. For me, my passion is about having a healthy family, having looking at my mom, having a long life, a quality life, not living till the age of 100, but bad quality of life, where you can't speak, you can't talk, you can't eat. What's the purpose of it? I'd rather die. Right? I want to be able to live long and enjoy life till my end days. If I'm going to be like a mushroom, then you might as well pull that machine out of me. I don't want to live, right? And for my kids, I want them to be able to explore the world. If I had the money and if I had the capability and ability to do so, when they reach a certain point, I don't think that they have to go to university. I want them to, take ownership over their own learning. And that does not include university learning. If they say, I don't want to do it because I want to do this, I am completely open to it. But in order for me to support them and the kind of life that I want them to experience, I have to work for it now, slowly, so that I have an idea as well, because I'm also learning. It's something that's new. So because of the health bit, it drives me from the things that I eat, from the things that I put on my skin, from the things that I'm obsessed with, and in terms of natural ingredients and doing yoga and things like that. So that's just a passion of mine. So that's how I think. But when I was a business coach, that's what we teach all of our clients. Pick a niche, right? Pick a niche, be good at it. And that's your front step of the door. It's not that you're pushing other people out. You're just targeting a specific market first so that your brand gets known. And that's when you slowly open it up and then scale it and then get more people. That's exactly. So everything that I've taught people before, I'm doing it on my own now. And it's working. So by the time I'm done, let's say, for example, I give myself 4 years from now, working in this and learning and absorbing and just soaking everything as much as I want. From this company, from this organization, from the team, from my mentor. And I've also launched this business, and I'm doing exactly that step-by-step thing that the blueprint and roadmaps, so to speak, that I've been teaching my clients all this while. I can say, hey, you know what? I've done it. It was successful. this is what happened. And with the amount of knowledge and information that I have, it can then take me anywhere. I can then travel the world and do the things that I want to do, right? But right now, this is my time. I have to be a mother. I have to be a daughter, and I have to be an employee. And that's what, and I embrace it, right? And I thrive in it. And I refuse to let ego or whatever the society has to say or any bullshit rules to say anything differently. And therefore, I feel so contented. I feel bliss all the time. I feel awesome. I feel amazing. And that's the most important thing about life, that you have to feel good. And you have to trust in your instinct.
That's so true. That's so true. Yes. So, I mean, I see that, we met 2-3 years ago in Singapore. You are a completely changed woman now. Your energy is different. I think, when you run your own business.
I think it's because I'm single.
But you're just single today. Hello.
I know. I've been waiting for 7 years at least for this decision. Can you imagine? Oh my God. Yes.
Will you ever marry again?
Well, we'll come to that when we cross the time.
That's true. But
for now, let me just enjoy.
Exactly, just enjoy. Actually, talking about new systems, I don't even think we actually need to get married anymore. Seriously.
Absolutely.
No. We just
agree.
Have partners. I mean, seriously, if you want to cheat, it goes beyond the paper. If you don't want to cheat, you don't need a paper to prove a point.
Yeah.
But it's just for the legalities and all kind of bullshit. But anyway, yeah, but I was just saying, when I met you, I think you were still coaching. I think the coaching sucked the life out of you. But now you had a job. Like everybody's saying, your job means just over broke. But then you are thriving. I hope the women who are watching this need to think for themselves and break free from whatever society's saying. It might not be true for
any
you.
society expectation, any community's expectation, even the entrepreneurs community, they have expectations of what an entrepreneur should be like. You should be able to do this freely. You should have the freedom to travel, the freedom to buy anything that you want. That's not true.
It just makes the photo very Instagrammable. But seriously, do I really want to work by the beach? Hell no! I want to spend time at the beach sipping margarita. I don't want to work by the beach.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I feel it very rewarding as well. So just to kind of want to end off and say, I don't just have a job. I have a freaking job that I love.
Yeah, it was just a total energy when you actually had your own business, and that vibe is supposed to be like, oh, I have a job, no, I have a business, yay, but you weren't vibing it. But to be honest, when you have a business, you work beyond 9 to 5. You are everything. You are the lifesaver, you're the firefighter, you're the toilet cleaner, you are the everything.
Totally. Yeah.
So thank you so much for
thank
this.
You.
Do you want to say something?
I just want to say thank you so much, Elise, for giving me the time and the opportunity to be on your show. I mean, you look completely radiant, I must say.
Thank you.
And I'm sure that you've gone through an amazing transformation as well. And I'm really happy to see, you're at this point and you're sharing this. Is it podcast? It's a little interview series.
Yeah.
Very nice that you're doing this and sharing these stories with other people, because I want other people to know that there's just no one way.
Yeah.
Be an entrepreneur, be an employee, work for a team, whatever it is that you decide to do and that feels right for you, go ahead and do it. And don't feel like you have to subscribe to someone else's rule or someone else's expectation, right? Just feel free to do whatever. And that if that feels good for you, by all means, that's your life purpose. That's your calling. Go for it.
Yeah, beautiful. At the end of the day, your job can be your life purpose. Don't believe what people say. As long as it feels good to you, go for it. So my new tagline, Pial, I didn't share with you, is become the woman that you've always wanted to be.
Exactly. Full stop. Perfect. I love it.
Awesome.
All right, Elise. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time. All right. Take care.
Take care. We'll keep in touch.
Yeah.
Bye.
Awesome. Bye-bye.